A Merry Christmas Wish is a pretty good film. This was released in 2022. It's directed by Bradley Walsh and it stars Jill Wagner as Janie. And Janie inherits this farm from her relative and she goes back to visit it. And there's a note that also says that ideally she'd have one last winter wonderland that used to be held at this farm, and she decides to honor this wish. And a lot of the film revolves around preparing for this festival, getting everything ready, but in the process, Janie starts to have doubts about what she really wants in life. She starts to consider moving back to this farm and basically setting up a new life, but at the same time, she has a life of her own and she doesn't know exactly what to do. And I won't say exactly what happens, but it's interesting enough. It's pretty typical, but I enjoyed it well enough. I think Janie is a likable character. We also have Cameron Mathison as Dylan, who provides our potential love interest, and the romantic aspect there I think was quite slow but very believable. So I kind of appreciate that. I don't like it too much when the romantic aspect of Christmas films feels too forced or too over the top too early on in the film. So I think they got the balance quite right. With regards to it being festive, it's absolutely festive. There's definitely enough Christmas in this to call it a Christmas film, and ultimately, I really liked it. I think it's going to be a very forgettable film. There's nothing about the narrative or the characters that really stood out to me as being particularly fascinating or particularly unique. But that being said, there's nothing that didn't work. I didn't dislike any characters. I don't think anything didn't work. Well, actually, there was one moment that really irritated me, and it's not really a big deal, but I'll discuss it with a spoiler warning in a moment. But it's the only thing that made me think I don't like that. But I'm overthinking things. But just as a point of criticism, I'll mention it in a moment. But generally, I liked it. If you're looking for a Christmas film that's very easy to watch, that's got enough Christmas in it to have a really lovely festive feel, then A Merry Christmas Wish is a good one to go with. So, very, very briefly, the only thing I didn't like, and it's such a minor thing, but it really irritated me, is right at the end of the film, so spoilers, of course, and Dylan is talking to everybody in Winter Wonderland. It's the end of the festival, and he's about to say something. And then Janie comes along, takes the microphone, says something, and then says and then she says goodbye and closes everything down and doesn't give Dylan a chance to actually say what it was he was going to say. And I thought, how selfish and self-centered can you be? It's such a teeny tiny thing to be irritated about, but it really irked me that in that moment she didn't care about what Dylan wanted to say or had to say. She made it all about her, and it really bugged me. But as I said, it's a teeny tiny thing that doesn't actually affect my overall enjoyment of the film. And that's the only real display of selfishness we have from Janie, I think. So, all things considered, not too bad. It's a pretty good film.